Kia ora, whakaalofala hiatu, and no mai hoki mai. Welcome back to this week's podcast episode. I am so excited to get into part 2 of the business series. But before we do, I need to tell you, early bird tickets are now available for the Build Your Confidence from Inside Out event that I am collaborating with Tom on. It's going down on the 29th of September, and early bird tickets, I think by the time this podcast releases, you've got 2 days left to get $100 off. So I'll leave everything in the show notes, but let's get into today's part 2, which is all about intentions and being intentional in what you're doing when it comes to business. And if you've ever worked with me, you know I use a lot the Cardi B meme. What is the reason? That's what I want you to think about when you do anything in business. When you launch a new product, when you launch a new service, when you host an event, when you start a podcast, when you do anything. What's the reason? What are your intentions behind it? Because a lot of the times we can get caught up in doing things that we're just doing for the fluff, for the shits and gigs, for, all the other, no really good reason, right? And sometimes the reason doesn't even make sense to your business and all the things. So it's really, really important to get intentional with what it is that you are doing in business. And I want you to look around your business right now. And even if you don't have a business, I want you to look around your life right now and think about the reasons you do all the things that you do. The reason you go to that job, the reason that you wear the clothes that you wear, the reason you're with the partner that you're with, the reason you want to get married, the reason you want to have kids, the reason you have kids, the reason you want to buy a house, the reason you think that you're not good enough, what's the reason of everything, right? Get really, really clear and be intentional with how you show up to your life every single day. Be so fucking intentional. It's like, is this helping me get closer to my goals and dreams? If it's not, don't do it. Stop doing it. And a lot of times in business, we are fluffing around. We're doing things that don't even matter. So it's like, fucking cull all that shit. Go around and see what works, what doesn't work. What do you need to keep doing? What do you not need to keep doing? What are the things you're just fluffing around doing because you're scared to do something else? Because you're keeping yourself busy? Because you don't want to do the scary thing that you're meant to do, right? So be really fucking intentional with how you're fucking showing up. And I do this in my business. There was a point where I was fluffing around and I was like, fuck, why am I even doing that? Nope, take that off. Oh, I'm doing that because I'm actually scared. So I want you to be so fucking intentional. Make it make sense. Make everything in your business make sense. So what is your why? What's the reason why you're starting the business and all the things? And then do the thing that gets you closer to that outcome. Everything else should line up to it. Everything you should do everything you do should be because of this end product. For me, I want to help, inspire, and impact so many women. I want to support them to know that they are worthy as is. That they can be confident right now to love what they see in the mirror, right? And everything I do now is for that end purpose. The reason why I'm having this event with Tom is for that end purpose. We're talking about confidence, right? The reason why I spoke at the last event I spoke, because it was all about confidence, right? So it needs to make sense. And a lot of the times in business, because we are such creatives and we have so many ideas, that we get lost all out there and we're not clear on what we're set out to do. We're not clear on our why and what we're here to do. So we're fluffing around doing all the other things. People ask you to collaborate. You're like, cool, I'll do this. And then your friend says, oh, you should do this. And then you start doing that product. And then you start doing this service. And then you go and do something else and something else. And it's like, what about that project? What about the reason why you started the business in the first place? Why are you all out there doing all these things that don't make sense? And you're going to lose your freaking audience, your community along the way, right? We always talk about niching. It's like, what's your fucking niche? What are people going to come to you for? Really getting clear on your why as well. And I'll tell you what, a lot of the times, and this is how I actually got into business. I got fired from my dream job as an international flight attendant. And I was like, fuck you guys, I'm going to start my own business because I didn't want to feel like that ever again. I didn't want to feel broke as fuck. I didn't want to feel like I had to rely on somebody else for a paycheck ever again. So I was like, I'm going to start my own business. And that's what I did. And my why was because I wanted to have my own money. I wanted to be my own boss, right? And then I got to that point, 3 years self-employed, 5 years in business. I was making the most money I've ever made. It was like, cool, made it, done. And I wasn't fucking fulfilled. I wasn't on purpose. It wasn't my passion to sell sunglasses. Yeah, I've built a fucking amazing community. Some of you are probably from that time, right? But the sunglasses didn't fire me up. I wasn't waking up in the morning like, yeah, let's go. I was like, oh, I have to pack orders again. When can I outsource this? I should outsource this. It was just a drag. And now, moving into what I've moved into, the Polynesian life coach, like you guys will be able to see that as well. How I now show up in the world, the change between her, who I used to be and who I am now, because I'm so fucking lit up and I'm so on fire and I'm out there doing all the things and I believe in what I'm doing and I have huge impact to make. And I think about all the women that will miss out if I don't show up to my fucking life, if I don't do all the things, if I don't talk about confidence, all the women who will miss out, if I don't talk about body acceptance and all the things, right? Worthiness, who's going to miss out? They're all going to miss out, right? So I'm here to make impacts. I want to reach all my Polynesian queens, right? So I'm here to do that. So I'm so on fire for this. It's so important because business is fucking hard as well. Y'all will know, especially in your business. Business is hard. Sometimes this shit is hard. And it will be days that you're like, fuck, should I give up? But when your why is so fucking big, it's like, nah, there's no way I'm about to give up. Yeah, I'm just having a bad day. I'm having a bad moment. I'm about to go back, you go back and you get shit done. But when your why isn't so big, when you're not fucking intentional and you're just doing it for money, there's going to be a day where you're like, fuck this, I'm giving it up. I'm not going to do this. As you don't think about the huge impact you want to make in the world, the impact you want for your fucking future generations, for your previous generations, for all the women out there and all the things, right? So it's really, really fucking important that we get clear on our why, on our intentions. Why are you starting the business? What's the reason why? All the reasons you do all the things in your business. Why are you doing that? Because sometimes we do things in business, we're just fluffing around to pretend we're working on our business, right? And I'm talking to myself too. I just did a huge fucking cull of what I do on the daily. A lot of the things I'm doing is not pushing the needle towards where I need to be. It's not bringing more fucking impact into my fucking business. So it's like, no, I can't be doing that anymore. What's actually helping me fucking have huge impact, right? Having impact in my community. So it's like those daily tasks. Take it out. You're just fluffing around. Sometimes we fluff around because we're too scared to actually do the things that we need to do to move the needle. So we're just like procrastinating and all the things that you're scared. There's the fear there. So get to the bottom of that fear, right? It goes back to mindset. Listen to last week's podcast episode if you haven't already. All right, so we need to be so intentional. We need to stop fluffing around and doing all these other things and making up all these other things and adding these products and services and all the things. And whenever you go into anything, if you've ever done a workshop with me or anything, we talk about intentions. Why are you here in the first place? Because by the end of it, I want to make sure that you got what you came here for, right? Same with events, same with business, everything, right? We need to be so fucking intentional. And when you are intentional and you show up in the world that way, people see it. They know you're fucking genuine. They know you actually want to help people or whatever your business does, right? And then you attract the people that you fucking need. You attract the people. Your people, those are your people. You attract them because you're so genuine. You're so on fire and intentional with what you do. You know your why. You know your reasons and all the things, right? And that it fucking helps with the way you show up as well. I always think of like a roadmap, right? So, or a map, like you're on the road, you're driving, right? Someone who's intentional, I'm like if it's me, I'm like, I'm going to go to the mall later with Meds. I know exactly where I'm going. I'm like, cool, we're going to jump in the car, we're going to drive to the mall. we're going to have lunch, we're going to look around, all the things, right? Whereas if it's someone, you know, you see those memes when you ask like your girlfriend, where do you want to eat? She's like, I don't know. And I don't know. And then you say, should we go here? And I don't know. Should we go here? It's you driving and fucking trying to figure out along the way where you're going, and you have no idea, and you're stopping in different places, and you're all the thing. It's not just this clear road, right? And then you might meet someone along the way and they're like, hey, want to come down here with me? And you go down that long road and you're further away from your fucking business and your goals and dreams with your business and all the things because you're going on this tiki tour with this person. And then another person's like, hey, you want to collaborate? You want to come on my podcast here? And you go down that street and you're so much further away from your fucking dreams and goals and all the things, right? So I'll tell you, and I'll probably leave you with this as well. This year, I was trying to think about moments where I wasn't intentional enough with what it is that I was doing. And this year, I actually jumped on a podcast with someone. And I jumped on the podcast because they were a friend and they were starting a podcast, and I was like, yeah, I want to support you. And I jumped on the podcast, and then afterwards I was like, that wasn't aligned. That wasn't that wasn't right. So when you're intentional, you're also aligned, right? And I wasn't intentional in going in that podcast, right? I wasn't clear, like, what was the reason why I was doing that? To help a friend out. It was a guy as well. I didn't even work with men. Like, it didn't make sense. Like, there was so many other things that didn't make sense with it. But afterwards, it was like I knew, like, afterwards. And even actually, when I look back at it, working up to that time, there were moments where I'd be like, wait, I don't think this is right. But then I'd be like, oh, am I just nervous, like, to jump on a podcast, you know? So getting those mixed up. But now I look back, I'm grateful for it, because sometimes we have to go the wrong way. We have to do things that are unintentional to fucking realize. But now I'm like, damn, I only want to be on fucking podcasts it wasn't even about confidence. It wasn't women. It was not the target audience, all the things, right? So you need to be intentional with what you're doing. And then afterwards I was like, I don't even want to share that with people, like, because I shouldn't have done that in the first place. But I had to go through that to learn. And then also, actually, I'll tell you about, so I ran a roller skating event, and I wanted to do it again this year. And I sat down with one of my girls. She's amazing in like events and stuff like that. And I was like, I need your help. She's like, cool, I'll help you. And then she was like, what's the reason? What's the reason why? And it was so funny because I know this, right? But I didn't even think about doing it for my own damn event. I was like, well, because I did it like the year before, and it's like networking, it's fun, roller skates and all the things. And she's like, yeah, but like, what's the reason? Like, what is the reason? And I was like, actually, this doesn't make sense. Like, yeah, I love to roller skate. Yeah, I love to have community and people and all the things. But for the amount of stuff you do for the event, you have to fucking, book venues, get caterers, sell the tickets. That's a whole thing. You have to promote it. A lot of time and energy and stuff goes into the event. And then when we looked at it, it was like, it wasn't worth it. Like, it wasn't worth it, and it didn't even make sense to my business. I could probably try and make it make sense, but do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't aligned, and I was like, okay, so we're not going to do that, right? Because it actually isn't what I want to do on the road. Yeah, it's nice, but it's not actually going to get me closer to what I'm here to do. Maybe in the future, it might be a future thing, right? But do you see what I'm saying? So it's so important to be intentional, to have your why and all the things. And yeah, that's the podcast episode. Thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions or anything like that, please message me. If you have any business questions, I'd love to continue the series with one of your questions. So message me at I love you, ka kite, koe kia.